Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. It is 30 minutes past the hour. I'm A.J. Hammer, broadcasting tonight and every night from New York City. And tonight, I've been waiting for this. It is Jennifer Aniston's Love Confessions. In the brand new interview Jen just did with Showbiz Tonight, you cannot miss a moment of it. I can tell you, we have spoken with Jen many times over the years, but this is really the most open I have ever seen her, talking about love, why it works, why it doesn't, and why men and women everywhere just need to pay attention to what she's saying. Because what Jennifer Aniston reveals to Showbiz Tonight is making big news right now. Bye-bye, Oprah. See ya, millionaire matchmaker. Dr. Phil, the doctor is out. Hollywood now has a new expert on love, and her name is Jennifer Aniston.
Love brings up everything unlike itself.
Jennifer Aniston is opening up to Showbiz Tonight, sharing with us her recipe for finding love.
I think you have to relinquish control.
Keeping love.
Women can do too much. I mean, over-doting on somebody.
And surviving love's end.
It's not the longevity of a relationship that shows its success.
You may ask, what are Aniston's qualifications to expound on the subject of love? Well, there's the string of super famous men she's been linked to, such as Vince Vaughn, John Mayer, and Gerard Butler. Not to mention the guy she was married to. Plus, she's starred in no less than 1 billion romantic movies.
You said on our very first date that you don't like flowers, that they're a waste of money.
Every girl likes flowers, Gary.
Such as The Breakup, He's Just Not That Into You. And now, the upcoming Love Happens, where she plays an unlucky-in-love florist alongside Aaron Eckhart.
My life is a day-by-day experiment in really bad decisions.
So, since Aniston stars in Love Happens, Showbiz Tonight is asking Aniston what it actually takes to make love happen.
People have ways of like, well, it's supposed to look like this. And, you know, they have all of these rules already sort of preset ideas of what the person's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be, when it's supposed to be. All of these plans, I don't think it's something you can control or really choose. I mean, it sort of chooses you.
Aniston's second job as a Hollywood love guru is already making waves. In the new Australian edition of Harper's Bazaar, Aniston says women often do too much in relationships, saying women complain that men don't do enough, but it's your own fault. You train your man to do nothing. You can't blame someone for not knowing what his or her job should be if you don't ask for it right off the bat. Don't expect your mate to read your mind. So, Showbiz Tonight had to ask Jen face-to-face, hey, Jen, what do you mean by that?
I think you need to know that if you're going into, you know, a rental situation, you are going to you're going to maybe paint the walls a little bit, but ultimately the structure is what it is. And if you go into anything thinking that you're going to change them, that's not really fair.
Aniston also reveals to Showbiz Tonight the #1 enemy of romance. She says it's laziness.
I think like anything, if you're lazy with it, it dies. You also have to realize that it evolves, it changes. I mean, everybody knows this. This is not anything new.
Of course, now people must decide if Jennifer Aniston is qualified to give love advice. If she is, maybe we've found her a new career she can fall back on, in case that whole actress thing doesn't work out. Jennifer Aniston, love guru. Kind of has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? So should she be crowned the love guru for our generation? Well, joining me tonight in New York is Carolina Bermudez. She's the senior editor for In Touch Weekly. In Hollywood tonight is Leslie Marshall, host of the syndicated radio program, The Leslie Marshall Show. Carolina, I gotta tell you, I was pretty amazed at how open Jen was with us. What do you think? Should people be taking her advice?
Well, I was pretty surprised, too. She's a very guarded person. Rarely does she ever let us look into her love life. But it's kind of hard to take advice from someone who hasn't had a successful career, so to speak, in the love game. You know, a lot of what she said did make sense, though. And I think that she's had a lot of experience with her relationships. But I'm not sure if I'm going to follow what she says or her instructions to the letter just yet.
Well, there is always the theory, learn from my mistakes. And maybe that's part of where she's coming from. And everybody's always talking about all of the relationships that Jen has had. she was dating John Mayer, Vince Vaughn, reportedly Gerard Butler. Some of those pretty short-lived romances. Jen does tell Showbiz Tonight short relationships don't necessarily equate to failure. Watch.
It's not the longevity of a relationship that it shows that shows its success. I think it's the, you know, if you have a really positive 2-year experience that taught you something, it doesn't mean, I don't think that determines the failure, success or a failure, the failure of.
I think that's totally fair because, like.
Leslie, what do you think? You buying that advice or the justification, as it may appear to be, that it's not about longevity, or are you sitting there thinking right now, Earth to Jen, you just keep picking the wrong guys, Jen?
I do think Earth to Jen, she keeps picking the wrong guys, and I also think she's lying just a tad, because every woman out there knows, AJ, that we're looking for the ring and the long-term commitment. We're not looking to rent, as she said, and just put some paint on the walls. We're not looking for a 2-year solid relationship. Most of us are looking for marriage. Most of us want that to be a lifetime commitment, to have a family with that person. And, you know, how many people are like, well, I had a great 2-year marriage. Next time I'll try for 4. Maybe that's why we have a 54% divorce rate in this country. But she's wrong on that, because even though she was married, what, about 7 years to Brad Pitt, and they say it was a good 7 years, I'm sure she didn't marry him going into it thinking, let's try for 7.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm sure that's exactly the case. And I mentioned that Jen loves to do movies that seem to reflect her troubled love life, whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But I did do a little digging today, because I wanted to see what Jen was working on for her next few movies. Now, according to IMDb, she is planning on doing Chemistry, Get Rid of Matthew, and The Divorce Party. And I'm no rocket scientist here, admittedly, but I'm guessing these are all romantic comedies, not big war epics. What do you think, Carolina?
Yeah, that's
Jennifer says people shouldn't be lazy in the romance, but is there something lazy about cashing in on her rocky love life with these kinds of movies?
Yeah, it's not much of a stretch for the poor girl. You know, The Divorce Party, I don't think there's any method acting that needs to go into that. I think she's pretty much lived that whole part of her life right now. And I do have to agree with Leslie. I mean, here's the thing about relationships. When you're talking to a woman, yes, it sounds great. Everything that she's saying, it sounds so nice and sweet. But when you get down to it, people want to be together. You want to find your companion.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that she hasn't found it yet.
Well, all this said, I agree with you on that. We do love Jen, and we do appreciate her sharing her advice with us. Carolina Bermudez, Leslie Marshall, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You can check out Jennifer's entire interview on CNN.com/ShowBizTonight.